Hey, everybody. Happy New Year, beautiful people. I hope you are doing well. Welcome back to Into the Core 2024. Today, I'm really excited. I have a beautiful guest, and we're going to get into all great things about PR. And we're also going to learn about what her passion has been about, also. So, today, we start with Jayne Wanzhou. And of course, our beautiful podcast is powered by Revolutionary Coffee. Let's get into it. Into the core.
Get into it.
All good things in Africa and beyond. Into the core.
Get into the core.
Into the core.
Get into the core.
Into the core. All good things in Africa and beyond. Hey, all right, Jayne, here we are into the core
Wow.
2024. And you know what? I'm so happy that you're my guest. So welcome on board.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
Ooh.
Listen, I'm okay. So I just want to get into it because I'm super stoked and super excited. So, one of the good things about 2024 is
Yeah.
how I feel like I've walked into 2024 hopeful and also knowledgeable.
Yeah.
Although we can never tell what's going to happen, I feel like this was the perfect way to start the year because with businesses, people need to realign themselves and
Yeah.
reposition themselves. And who better to have this amazing conversation other than like the guru herself? You. So, no, but you really are. You're absolutely fantastic. So I feel like let me start with the simple question, which is how did you get into PR? How did you become a communication specialist? Was this something that was always embedded in you? And yeah, just give us a little bit about your back end.
So, for your viewers, my name is Jayne Wanzhou, and I am a communications specialist. How I started this journey was, yeah, it's been a while. I'm not going to say when, since that's going to age me. But it's been a while. It's been over a decade, and I am thankful. I got the opportunity to work at one of the biggest advertising agencies in East, Central, and West Africa. Well, at the time, I don't know whether that's still the case. And everybody was trying to get in, and God just opened a door, and I was able to be an intern. And then, when you work hard, they call you back and you're like, oh, this is so amazing. And I learned my ropes
Right.
at a company called Hill and Knowlton Strategies. And it's been an amazing roller coaster having to work across multiple markets, having the opportunity to live on the continent and off the continent. And back home, I love Africa. So I love all things communication and Africa. So yeah, that's been my journey. So got the opportunity as an intern, stuck with it, doing communications. Although I thought I would be what did I want to be? I wanted to be someone in the film industry. So I got to mix a little bit of both. So where you're able to do documentaries for clients or creative projects for clients. So yeah, that's
I
how
love
it's been
that.
this far. Yeah.
I love that. So you have this well, I just call it a creative spectrum. So you could wear the many hats in terms of um, you know, communicating with people anyway.
Yes.
It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Okay. And that's like a very blunt thing that I just said, but hey. Okay, so here's my thing. So I was just looking about positioning of companies this year. And one of the big things, and I know it's a hot topic for like a lot of people, one of the big things everybody's talking about is how we need to be or how companies should incorporate AI into their strategies. Is this something that you think or that you recommend that should be like a must do or have a knowledge to, or yeah? Um,
Okay. So that's an interesting conversation to be having, and it's the right conversation to be having, if you ask me, because
okay.
there's always an opportunity with new technology. So my
Yeah.
perspective is to see how you can use new technology to be able to work easier. Yeah. So I was being reminded the other day of before washing machines came, people used to actually, use like a grinder to be
Yes.
able to do it.
Yes.
Exactly. And with that, it evolved to now for you to get the washing machines. So it's the
Yeah.
same instance with AI. So before we had to have someone manually sitting, scouring the web, getting to know what does your audience like, what are the spaces they're in, what's the kind of feedback you're getting to be able to create your strategy. But I see the opportunity of using AI to be able to let the machine do the job, get the information, put it together, and you're able to create a smart report. So it saves you time and it saves you money. So I think there's definitely an opportunity when it comes to AI, and more so in every sector, not just communication. So for small, medium businesses, for large organizations, and even for individuals, I really advocate for individuals to learn what's in the AI space and how they can jump on that opportunity, because there's always an opportunity with new technology.
Okay, because I was going to say, like, okay, so the way you've just said for your data and reporting, but then there is actual space then for us to still create room for more emotional, intelligent, to put some emotion to whatever it is that we're doing, the strategies that we're doing, because clearly there's no emotion involved there, right?
Yeah, so you're able to pull. I would say it's the perspective of, so it would be wrong if you're just pulling the data and presenting it. But you
Right,
pull the data, then you're able to, it's easier for you to process. And then from that, you make an intelligent decision. So
right.
it really just saves you a lot of time. Yeah.
What do you think are some of the leverages that people need to focus in on? And I'm going to use this so that we could just carry the conversation into different sectors. But what are some of the things that you feel like companies, individuals need to leverage themselves with in terms of communication coming up in 2024 into 2025? Because then you're kind of reaching out into the next year as opposed to just focusing in on like a 1 year strategy.
All right. So I think a big thing that has been happening from last year and more so into this year is your online presence. I
Right.
know people are just like, you're on every space, but you need to be strategic about it. So for some
Yeah.
organizations, it makes more sense to engage more on LinkedIn because your target audience is there. So if you're looking like at a C-suite type of audience, and if you're looking for like so your fast moving consumer good, you're definitely going to look at all the other social media spaces, and
Right.
not to forget TikTok now has a space where you buy goods. I'm like, it keeps evolving with time, so it's looking at the
Wow.
your spaces the spaces that you need to get into to be
Yeah.
able to speak to your audience. And all communication is about, and especially PR is about, creating shared understanding. And that's what we're about. So for you to
Right.
create shared understanding, you need to understand, or you need to learn where your audience is and where they're
Right.
at, and then you want to take them on this journey, and that's where storytelling comes in. So organizations really need to think through the storytelling that you're doing and the different platforms that you're on. So also be strategic about it. You don't need to be on all the platforms, but you need to see where your audience is at. That's where you need to
Yeah.
be.
Because I was going to say that the the Kenyan audience compared to, okay, say for example, an American audience varies very largely. Because I feel like um, sometimes the more mature crowd is on Facebook. And then definitely you find that you still have a mature crowd that is jumping right now into TikTok.
Mhm.
But do you feel that right now everybody is veering away from X, Twitter, from X?
I don't think so. Okay. I'm still on X. I think X is still the space where you get quick bits, like what's happening, what's trending. So if you're trying to get your news across the
Hmm.
continent, so For instance, the other day I woke up and there was this whole thing. I think we've seen it in the news where Japan had the whole earthquake. And the only way I get my news, I won't lie to you, is on Twitter. It's a quick scroll through, then I can decide, okay, so this is the page I want to go to, this is the other page I want to go to. With Facebook,
Right.
I guess you want a detailed type of thing and gives you a bigger
Mhm.
space to do that. But I think that at this point, I wouldn't put X out. I would
Right.
say it's still a good space. Maybe it's just how you what you're trying to position there and who you're speaking to, because also
Mhm.
Kenyans on Twitter can be rough, so you
I
need to be
I was
ready.
I, I was going to say that at least with X, Kenya has a huge presence,
Yeah,
and basically, I feel like we run X, man. But
yeah.
it's one of those things where I feel like, yeah, heavily dependent on a Kenyan scale, as opposed to how people will say that they're veering away from X because of I don't know what components about it are just making it not so user friendly, but
Mhm.
um I guess we'll just wait and see how 2024 goes with that. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. And I can add that when it comes to different social platforms, you just keep evolving. So at some point, you'll see that your audience is on Facebook. And then it evolves, and you see, okay, I have an younger audience, and maybe there's a certain older audience who's on TikTok, and there's the opportunity. And then maybe I want to do, shorter stories that are, so after you have this whole podcast, you want to do snippets. So you have YouTube shorts. So it's just trying to figure out how you want to package your content on different platforms.
right. So actually, one of the things that I was going to say also, so now going into the small little shots and everything,
Right.
right now, one of the things that people are going into is more, is it consistency in terms of or storytelling, but doing it in bursts, but
Mhm.
authentic bursts. How would you advise people to I don't know, authentically position themselves in terms of um, giving value for their business, or giving value for who they are? I remember I was listening to a radio show actually here in Kenya about how um, people need to be a little bit more authentic, instead of saying that this is where they always holiday and then they just go and take pictures, and then, as opposed to saying this is where I can afford to go, and this is just giving people an authentic view of themselves, because I feel like accuracy sometimes and authenticity is lacking, and then it puts people into a spiral of why
Mm.
can't they live that life. So yeah, I just feel like communication nowadays is very yeah.
Um, well, there's definitely there's value in being authentic in who you are, and organizations see people who are authentic. So, for instance, when I was looking for an influencer,
Mhm.
to position a certain product, then I reached out to you because it made more sense, because your audience was purchasing that product and you would also use that product. So I
Yeah,
really like it when I see individuals and even organizations positioning products and services that they'd actually use.
yeah,
The authenticity comes out where your value and their values align. Yeah.
yeah,
So I,
yeah,
I see some maybe it's not direct advertising, but you see someone hanging out with like this product and they're drinking it or they're wearing it, and you can see for sure that this is part of their life. And like the
yeah,
ones who take a picture and say, okay, this was sponsored by so and so, I'm just like, okay,
yeah.
where's the value in that? Show me, tell me a story about it. How has it changed your life? How are you, incorporating it into your everyday? Is it what you do? Is it what you value? So that those
Mm,
are things that you really need to think about. So, and it goes back to your objectives. So what do you want to achieve out of all this? Yeah.
yeah. I love that. And I feel like that's a really great position for people to actually now start thinking about, because there's so many people who are getting, well, out, the podcast space is pretty active, and I think that that's, as people are putting themselves out there, that they also need to just kind of take that into consideration. And
Mhm.
then what do you think about um attracting clients and showing them your value? Because I feel we've had this conversation over and over, and I know it might be a repeat situation, but I just feel like there are people who struggle at, they've got a great product, but they're just
Mhm.
never able to, kind of streamline and show people exactly who they are. How would you kind of get into that? Or what advice would you give to them?
All right. So, for people who are trying to position themselves to work with an organization, so I guess it goes to what you're pitching. The first
Yeah.
thing you need to figure out is what will be of benefit to this organization. So first, go look out at what is their overarching theme. So what do they want to achieve with a certain campaign, or based on what you're pitching, how do you think that will help them either grow their business, one, or increase the number of sales to their business, or make more people look onto their website or to look into their services. So once you figure out what they're trying to achieve as an organization, then see how you're able to bring value, and how you're able to use your platform to be able to
Hmm.
help them meet their goals. So your platform needs to be aligned with what they're trying to achieve. For instance, I want to sell this product in X number of days.
Yeah.
The key for me is really not there's two aspects. There's the sales aspect, but there's also awareness aspect. So
Right.
based on your platform, are you able to create X number of awareness, which will then lead to X number of sales? Or do you have the type of audience that has the ability to purchase, has the purchasing power? So if I put it out there and maybe I have like 100 followers, those are 100 complete sales. Yeah. So if you're able to position that correctly, then definitely an organization will want to work with you, and not
Yeah.
up in the air. Because I also know there's people who claim, but then you're like, okay, so where's the result? Yeah. So you
Yeah.
need to be able to also demonstrate that when you're pitching it out. Yeah.
Okay. And what do you think about the whole, especially now, it's like a hot topic, and sometimes it may seem very, well, yeah, it's a sensitive topic, but I
Mhm.
think that every time, if you're looking into a global perspective, there's the whole idea of diversity, equality, and inclusion.
Okay.
What do you think about that space? I want to say on a Kenya scope, on an African scope, and on a global scope, because
Hmm.
a lot of companies now are, far reaching. I don't feel like we're just in one small little, we're not in the jungle anymore. We're very much, we're so open to,
Yeah. Yeah.
we are like a global village at this
Hmm.
point. So
Hmm.
what do you think about that in terms
All right.
of communication and the whole inclusion of, yeah,
Everyone. All
everyone?
right. Yes, of everyone. So I'll start by saying for sure we are a global village. We are on the web, and the web has made us into a little village where Jane Wanjao posts something from, I don't know, Japan. And then Linda, who's all the way in Nairobi, sees it.
Yeah.
And, we're all real time and we're chatting about it. And we're able to have all this live calls or live streams. So I mean, we're really interconnected thanks to the web. So when
100.
it comes to diversity and inclusion, there's definitely a lot of different things going on, both positive and negative. And I think there's a place of just bearing with one another. Can I put it that way?
Being human,
Yes,
humanizing.
just humanizing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we are all different. And I believe each and every human being has a piece of value to share with the world. They have a gift that they're supposed to bring forth. So based on that, it's just like, I see locally a lot of organizations have become being open in terms of, having a lot of diversity, maybe not talking about it, but they're really implementing it across the
Yeah.
continent. It's varied. I would say there's some markets that are really open, others are on the journey, because I believe
Yeah.
we're all on a journey of being better. So
Yeah.
we're on that journey, of course. Abroad, when I look at the America and Canada, I mean, there's it's crazy. I think there's also an extreme to it. There's super inclusion, but then it also excludes the people who are conservative. So
Very true. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so I think there also needs to be a place of balance, and that's why I said bear with one another, because we all come with different opinions, backgrounds, but then we also want to just share the value, the good, and keep away
Yeah.
the bad. Yeah, and then when you go to like Asian countries, of course, it's a different ballgame altogether, just because of the culture and the structures of how governance takes place. So yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I just think the overlying well, the key message again is just the human aspect and the human touch to it is just yeah, just bringing out humanity first before anything else.
Mhm.
um okay, so what are your big 5 pointers? I'm asking you for five because I don't know, somehow whenever you're at an interview there's always like, what are you going to do for the next 5 years?
Oh wow.
um, but you know what I mean. But what are for you as a PR with your own agency now and having opened up? What are your 5 things that when somebody walks in to talk to Jayne, what is the 5 things that you want to bring to the forefront while you're having a conversation, before you even start looking at what this person is doing? What do you think are the 5 things that for you are very important for you to have at hand before you even approach somebody who's a communication specialist?
All right. So the 5 things. Wow. All right. There are many things you need to have.
I know, but go for it. I mean, even if they're 2 or 3, I picked 5 because somehow we asked about our 5-year plan. So I don't
Yes,
know.
yes, yes. I hear
5
you.
just
I hear
came
you.
in.
So I'll do them as I think top of mind. So the first thing you need to have before you come to me is understand what you want to achieve, and don't tell me you want to make X number of dollars or whatever. Everybody is looking to make the money, but it's based on the value that you can give. I was listening
Mm,
to an interesting podcast yesterday where the lady said that money will chase the value you give. I was like,
that's a
what?
good one. All right.
Yes. So
Value will chase the money.
you give.
Oh,
The value
okay.
you, yeah, money will
Mm,
chase the value you give, the value you give. So each
mhm,
and every one of us should give value, and the money will chase after you. So basically the premise is you should be very good at what you do that people want to work with you. So if it's upskilling, if it's but now we're going back to this. So the first thing is know your objective. So what do I want to achieve? I want to be able to um be impactful in X number of space, whether it's the fashion industry, whether it's the communications industry, whether it's the entertainment industry. How do you
mm,
want to achieve that? I want to be able to do this by, these are the different steps. So you're like, okay, so once you have your objective, then I'm able to break it down for you on how, okay, this is how we're able to align. Then you come to me. At least when you have that, then we can look at the platforms. You'll tell me, I want to be on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, X, name them.
yeah,
Snapchat. I'm like,
yeah,
no, that's not your audience. Also,
yeah.
be your authentic self. Don't tell me you can do one thing and you can't do that thing. So I want you to be very good at your skill. So whatever that skill is, whether it's the speaking, some people are very good at software development, but they're not able to express themselves. So when you come to me, I help you to be able to one, create understanding about the shared value that you share, that you're able to provide. That's number one. Number two, I'm able to help you to find the right platforms to communicate about that. And number three, we make sure that value is able to bring a return on investment, not just for you, but the organization that you work for.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I love that. What do you see as some of the companies, like what are the mistakes that people make when they are walking into you know h- especially in their positioning? What do you think that some of their mistakes are, and that you heavily see, especially with yeah, in terms of communication? I know I've made so many mistakes I can't even tell you, but
Mhm.
what do you see as some of the mistakes, and people should just, first of all take it as a red flag and then go back and re-strategize about it? And I say this because where in January people are going to work next week and are beginning to really start thinking about office and and really positioning, as we're saying.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So the thing that you need to, when it comes to communication, so
Yeah.
first of all, at the end of the day, I'm back at value. So 2024, what value are you going to give? How are you going to be helping the team to upskill, or how are you going to help the team to move to the next level? So always
Mm,
think team, because no man is an island, and we're able to move better when we work together.
yeah.
So that's definitely something you need to look at. And then another thing is, sometimes you look and you're like, okay, so these are my weaknesses, but those are Linda's strengths. So why don't you work with Linda, and she'll help you, and you're able to move
Yeah.
better together. It may take longer for you to get where you need to be, but then it'll
Yeah.
be better because you learn in the process. So, in terms of red flags, that's kind of a hard one to,
It really is, right?
yeah, it's really a hard one. Unless I look at an individual um, proposal or an individual plan for the year or for the next 3 months. I know people like to break it down quarter by quarter. Um, then I'd be able to tell them, okay, so maybe you want to, based on what you want to achieve, maybe you need to, scale back or move forward. Or maybe if you're pitching, you haven't shown me what you do, or you're repeating yourself. Sometimes people repeat themselves and then they're not repeating the thing I want to hear. you know
Right, 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 right.
yeah, so you really also have to look at, okay, so this is what I can do, what the organization wants to hear, and they only hear it at the tail end. Then they're like, oh, wait, 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 go back, so tell me more about that. You're like, what, you want to know about that? That's like, I do that every day, that's not a big deal. You're like, no, 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 actually that's what we want more. Yeah.
I like that because we undersee ourselves, or we sometimes maybe even undervalue ourselves or
Yeah.
our brands or what we're offering. And so, yeah. Okay. So I want to have a last word in terms of communication for 2024, because I also want to talk about your passion projects and what
Yeah.
you have been up to, because I
Hmm.
think that, like what you do is absolutely fantastic. So, any last
You.
words in terms of our PR, communication, positioning, or have you said it all? But I give you your last words for that before we get into your.
I think everybody needs a communication specialist to work alongside them. It doesn't matter your sector, whether you're in the medical, the infrastructure space, you're an organization or an individual, you definitely need a communications person to work with you. Even though you're an athlete, I think I am open to work with the athletes and just different individuals. Key is to be able to communicate effectively and create shared understanding. For
Yeah,
you to create that shared understanding, you need to also uh, know how to position yourself and know the right things to communicate at the right platform. So,
that's true.
yeah, welcome to work with me. I'm looking forward to 2024. And yeah, we can share more.
Yes, we're doing big things in 2024 for sure. And I have to say that I feel blessed because that thing that clicked in my head, and I was like, man, I need to call Jayne and I need to have a conversation with her. You've completely changed my perspective in terms of even my brand and how I'm starting to reposition myself. And I just really, really would encourage guys to reach out to Jayne, and we're going to get her contacts and make sure I'll put them below. But for right now, I do want to say thank you to Revolutionary Coffee also for powering this conversation, because this conversation was definitely necessary. And yes, my coffee is somewhere over here. It's over here. It's a little bit far over. Yes, but thank you to Revolutionary Coffee. I mean, they've really walked a journey with me. And I always just feel like, especially, and I'm going to say this about it's not just about the coffee, but it's the fact that it is export ready coffee that is sold here, which never used to happen before. We used to get the back end of the coffee, but,
Mm.
I love the fact that she wanted to make sure authentically Kenyan coffee export is here in the country. So, I would encourage guys to try it at least once. Um, and I'll also put their details in a few. All right, Jayne, darling, please tell me about this beautiful passion project and what you've been working on. Because yes,
Mhm.
go for it.
Oh no, you know how I want to do this? I want you to ask me questions.
um, so here I am. Look at me. Talk. Look at us. Let's take sips coffee.
So I
Okay.
really believe in physical wellness and mental wellness. And you really have to find the space for you to take care of you so that you're able to, give your best to the world. So I began a journey of running, and it has been so exciting. I mean, from my first 10K back in 2010, I think, to my first full marathon. And recently I got to run 100 kilometers in Shelby Desert. That was in November 11th. And
Whoa.
that was an amazing experience. Totally changed my life.
Okay, so tell me, first of all, when you talk, so I do believe in that because in health and mental wellness. What made you get to that situation where you had to start running to take care of yourself? Did something happen in the back end that triggered, and you were like, no, I need to get myself out of this, and I need to push forward with something that is going to forever change my life.
Ah, okay. So the first time I did it, it wasn't. I am thankful that I've been in good health over the years. I'm really thankful for that. And it wasn't like a life-threatening thing. It was more of, so I was living out of South Africa at the time, and I
Mhm.
wanted to just engage and meet people. So I went out and we do this park runs. It's a 5K run every Saturday morning. And I tried it, and I've never run in my life. And they're like, "Ooh, the Kenyan," and I'm like, "No, not all Kenyans run." And I mean, I continued and I loved it. And I noticed
Yeah.
how much energy I'd get back and how I'm able to just express myself better in terms of, exerting myself and putting myself out there to do different projects. And just the happiness that comes with it. Honestly, moving your body is the best thing you could ever do for yourself. Yeah.
I struggle with running, but like when I was in Diani, I walked a lot. I feel like walking was like my thing because
Hmm.
it's not like first of all, you've got the beach that is right next to you,
Yeah.
but I feel like it did bring out like a greater side of me. But I would love to get into running. I just don't, I feel like I'll start with walking and then maybe get into running because I do know that it does change your mental state. It does create a happy barrier for you. It leads you into paths that are never ending. And also I feel like um you become consistent
Yes. Yes.
and disciplined.
Yes, yes. In fact, that's what I was gonna speak about the most. So, what I love about running now is it makes me very disciplined. So, in terms of when I go to bed, it's made me eat better. So, I think about the choices that I'm making when I'm putting on my plate different things. It's made me be able to also work better because now I wake up at a certain time. I'm able to get to work on time. Like it changes your life that you cannot be tardy. you know and
Yeah.
so this led me to think that I really want to share this with the world. I want everybody to be able to move their body to feel better.
I
So
love this.
yeah, just move your body to feel better. So I know some people cannot run because of, different medical things, and others don't run because they don't enjoy it. So I want you to find a thing that you enjoy, but the thing is consistency. Do it
Mm.
consistently and you will see a change. You walk and your mind is free and you feel good. You run, and as you said, it opens up paths. And after I ran 100K, now I feel fearless. I'm like, okay, bring it on. What do you have going on? I mean, if I made it through the pain, through the heat, I mean, what? what else can't I do? It makes you just feel like I can overcome. If you're a swimmer, I want you to get out there. I want you to do it consistently, because you can only get better. So that's now that has led me to really want to put together a podcast. So we talk about fitness, so we talk about your mental health, we talk about life, and just have to be able to live wholly, and wholly in your perspective. The interesting thing is, in this world we live in, everyone is comparing. Oh, I want to be like so and so, I want to be like so and so. No, 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 no. I'm not asking you to be a certain body type. I'm asking you to be healthy. For me and
Mm.
you looks very different. So I really just want you to get out and move your body for a better body.
I think that is such a great plan. I mean, and I was just telling my son that I wanted to start swimming again, and he was just like, really? And I also saw Kate Middleton, also swims come rain or shine, but she says she actually likes it when it's actually cold
Mm,
for
mm,
her.
yeah.
And in my head, there was a little bit of that encouragement, because I was like, hey, Nairobi weather, like in the coast, there's no excuse, because
Yeah.
even when it's cold, it's not really cold.
Mhm.
But here I was just like, will I be consistent with it? But I also feel like I also have to just commit to it and go for it.
Yeah, and it starts with a mind shift. So once you're like,
Mm,
okay, so I'm going to do this, you're like, okay, this is where I start with anybody who asks me. They're like, oh, Jayne, I've been following your runs. I really want to join. I'm like, start where you are. What do you enjoy? Maybe you don't enjoy running, you
mm.
enjoy skipping. I have my friend who does like some major skips. I am not able. I do not enjoy it, but she loves it, and her life has changed. Like, she processes better in terms of thinking. It's a good way of releasing the stress, a positive way of releasing stress. I know people have different ways of doing it, but then the movement is like a wholesome thing. So you burn the calories, but you also are able to more or less like reset your mind. So, and it's the
Yeah.
only space, if you asked me, when you're doing a sport that's for you. I know with walking, you'd be with someone else, but at some point you're all quiet and you're in your thoughts, and it's such a beautiful place to be.
That's true. I mean, I feel there's two spaces. There's, for me, a walking space and a swimming space. And I love the swimming space because I would, when I was doing it, I would get into a zone where I'm like, I push myself for another 20. But
Mm-hmm.
all right, 2024. Unfortunately, no, I don't want to say that, because every time you start the year, everybody always wants to start something. And then halfway through, we're just like deuces. So I will start when I start. I'm not going to put a
Yes.
timeline to it, but I will start when I start. I feel like, so what is next for you? Are you going to invite people to a run, to walk with you on this process? Is there ways people can engage with you and reach out to you? Yeah, kind of drop some information so that we could actually be in touch with you.
All right. So I want to actually organize like walks in Karura. I want to start where people are at. Everybody can walk, right? Everybody can walk. Come with
Yes.
the photos. Everybody can walk. Come with the whole family. Yeah. So it would be nice to organize walks. I'm trying to see whether we can do once a month, but I want to start it in March. So March is special for me because it's my birthday month.
All
That's when
right.
the year
Okay.
starts. So my year hasn't started yet. Yes, happy 2024, but new year, March 1st. So
Yes. Yes.
I will definitely share more details, but I can give out my number in case anybody just wants, some guidance and accountability. Really, the big thing is accountability. I want you to start where you're at, and then we're
Yeah.
accountable. So you let me know. This week I was able to go to the gym X number of times. So also, if you enjoy the gym, please do the gym, but be consistent at it. The thing is
I like that.
consistency. Consistency. Find what you love. Physical activity. Some people like boxing, some people like walking, some people like running, swimming. Like the opportunities are endless. My friend loves golf. He goes out, but you need to be consistent. So
Yeah.
consistency.
Do you want to give out your number here, or do you want us to, if you actually want to reach out to Jayne, why don't you drop into the direct messages or put a
Mhm.
comment below? leave an email address or something of the sort. But you could give me maybe your email address. It's jconsult,
Yes.
jconsult
JConsult.
at gmail.com.
JConsult Kenya at
Whoop,
gmail.com.
whoop. Okay,
Kenya.
hold on. We're editing that. Jconsult Kenya.
JConsultKenya at gmail.com.
Got it. We're
Mm.
in.
Yeah.
And
So I call it consult because, well, you can do a lot of things with it. So if you're talking communication, we can definitely work together. If you're talking fitness, or you just want, guidance alongside that, we can talk together. I can lead you to, the right people. So I consider myself a connector. So if you need to speak to a coach, a proper coach, a running coach, you want to do your time, I know somebody. If you need to speak to a nutritionist, they can guide you. I can guide you to someone who will walk with the journey with you. So start where you are and be consistent.
I love it. Thank you so much, Jayne. You're absolutely fantastic. I think that everybody needs a Jayne in their life. I have my Jayne in my life, so I know I'm just happy. I'm in a very great space, and I think that it would be really, really advisable for you to get in touch with her. She has really guided me through so much, especially with my businesses, my ideas, just kind of streamlining them. It will hurt a little bit, especially if you have like the bigger picture and you're trying to go in. But once you hear what she has to say and the advice that she gives you, I say get a Jayne in your life, and you can reach out to her on jayneconsultkenya at gmail.com. I really appreciate you. Thank you for starting my
Thanks
year so fabulously. Look at me. I'm so excited. Like it's going to
for
be such an
having me.
exciting year.
You really pushed me into this. Now I need to do it.
I know. So here we go. This is part one. And now we get into part two of starting your podcast and being
Mhm.
consistent with it. I know I
Yeah,
have to be consistent with mine too.
absolutely. So to a consistent 2024.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jayne. And to everybody else, thank you so much for joining in. And if you are joining in at a much later time, thank you again. Make sure you subscribe to Into the Core podcast on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Facebook, on X. I use those platforms because that's where people will reach out to me on my DMs. And if you want to see somebody here that you think that would absolutely change our lives, please feel free to let me know. Next week we're going to be having the amazing Wamuhu Waweru. She is absolutely fantastic. She is killing the safari industry, creating luxe Black-owned businesses, made a killing out of it during COVID, and is just soaring higher and higher. These are the inspiring stories that we always want to bring you. I said it's all about all good things happening in Africa and beyond. And Team Kenya is showing up and showing out. Thank you so much, Jayne.
Thank you. God bless. Love and light.
Love and light. Revolutionary coffee. Asanteni sasa. To more sips.